Chess, the game of kings, has existed for over 1,500 years. In previous centuries, kings and princes used to play chess to develop their strategic thinking skills, their ability to predict and outsmart their opponents. Today, chess players use chess to build their logical reasoning skills or spatial reasoning skills, or just to enjoy themselves. Now, here's my question about chess. Is chess true? Are the rules of chess true, or are the rules of chess false? Well, this piece over here, this is called a knight. It can move in an L shape. This piece is called a rook. It can move either straight forward, straight backwards, or it can move sideways. This piece here is called a bishop. It can move diagonally. Well, let's compare that to reality. Here's an actual bishop, and we see that this bishop is walking forwards. He's not walking diagonally, he's walking normally. And you can see by this seam here in the sidewalk that he's walking parallel to that seam the way that you would think, according to the rules of chess, only a rook would. So based on that, we might say, well, we've disproven the rules of chess, so we should get rid of those rules like a bad scientific theory. But that wouldn't make any sense. Chess isn't science. It's not based on empirically measuring and observing the world and then coming up with the rules. The rules are made up, and even though the rules are made up, they still give us this incredible opportunity to build strategies and openings, tactics. It's still an incredible game. The rules are neither true nor false. They're made up. Now, there is something, though. There is something that has existed for even longer than chess. For almost 1,000 years longer than chess. And that is what we call Euclidean geometry. Euclid is the father of Euclidean geometry, and his book was called The Elements. And this bit of ancient parchment shows a piece of that of the book The Elements. Now, a lot of people will tell you that math is like science, geometry is like science, and those people, they don't know what they're talking about, because there is no scientific theory that has existed for 3,000 years, or 2,000 years, or 1,000 years. As we get more observations, as we get more sophisticated equipment, scientific theories are constantly being disproven. But geometry is never going to be disproven, because geometry, much like chess, starts out with rules that are made up. We call them postulates, and we're going to study them a lot more later on. But it starts with made up rules, just like chess starts with made up rules. Those rules are used to create theorems and all kinds of other connections and an entire incredible system of geometry. Now, some of you might be confused and be like, wait, I thought that geometry was about measuring shapes and finding areas and perimeters. Wrong, 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 wrong. Geometry is not about shapes. Geometry is about logic. And in your exploration of geometry, we're going to be thinking about the structure of language, of reason. It's going to demand a high level of grammatical and logical intensity, because what we're doing here is looking not just at the structure of one mathematical system, but actually you're going to be learning a lot about the structure of mathematics itself, the structure of language, the structure of thought. That's why studying geometry is so valuable. That's why over 2,000 years later, we're still studying Euclidean geometry, just as over 1,500 years later, people are still playing chess. It is valuable, but it's not valuable as a scientific theory. It's valuable because for chess because it lets you develop these reasoning skills. And geometry continues to be valuable because it lets you develop logic and a deep and fundamental understanding of what mathematical truth is, of the structure of human language. So remember this. Every scientific theory you ever learn is going to be disproven at some future point. The rules of chess are never going to be disproven because they're just made up. And geometry is also not going to be disproven because the rules are just made up. And that's actually good. It gives it permanence, and it gives it a framework for you to develop your logical thinking. Above all, remember this. Geometry is not about shapes. Geometry is about logic.